So we're asked to calculate 0.4 times 312. So we've just learned that we could say that's 4 times 0.1 times 312. Or I could rearrange that to be 4 times 312 times 0.1. So 4 times 312, 2 4s are 8, 1 4 is 4, and 3 4s are 12. So 4 times 312 is 1,248 times 0.1. The 0.1 means we move the decimal place one position to the left. So we end up with 124.8. Alternatively, you could have done it this way. 0.4 times 312. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 4 is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. That doesn't change. Then we just have to look and we have to count up how many numbers had decimal places. In this case, there was only one decimal place, so we just have to move the decimal one position and we end up with the same answer. Looking at part B, we've got 7 times 450 times 0.1. 7 times 450, 4 7s are 28, plus 3 is 31. So 3150, so we've got 3150 times 0.1. The 0.1 means we move the decimal place one position to the left. So we've got 315.0. Doing it the other method, 0.7 times 450. 7 times 0, of course, is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. 3 to carry. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 3 is 31. Look at for how many decimal places. There's just one decimal. So we move the decimal place one to the left. In this case, we could say that we have 11 tenths times 98 times 0.1. 11 times 98, 1,078 times 0.1. With that 0.1, we move the decimal place one position to the left. So we end up with 107.8. Using the other method, 1.1 times 98. 1 8 is 8, 1 9 is 9. 1 8 is 8, 1 9 is 9. 8, 17, 1 to carry. 1,078. We see we've got one decimal place, so we put the decimal into its position. If 0 point something of a 4-digit number is about 500, what could the numbers be? What about 0 point something of a 3-digit number that would give you 500? So let's name two possible solutions for each situation. So in the first case, we're looking for a 4-digit number that when multiplied by some decimal gives us an answer of 500. So what they're saying is 0 point something times a 4-digit number is going to be equal to 500. I'm going to choose a fairly arbitrary number right now. I'm going to choose something easy, to be honest. 0.1 times that number is going to be equal to 500. Well, if 1/10 of a number, so this is 1/10, so if 1/10 of a number is 500, then we need to multiply that 500 times 10 to figure out what 1 is. So we take the 500 times 10, which is equal to 5,000, and that gives us our original number. Now, that's a 4-digit number. We also need to now do a similar method and look for a 3-digit number. So for a 3-digit number, we've got 0 point something times a 3-digit number is equal to 500. I'm going to choose 0.8 times that 3-digit number is equal to 500. So this is 8/10 of that number is equal to 500. So if that's, we can also remember, think of that as 8 times 1/10 is equal to 500. That means that 1/10 is the same as if we had 500 and we divided it by 8. And 500 divided by 8 is equal to 62.5. We're dealing with 1/10, so if that's what 1/10 is equal to, if 1/10 is equal to 62.5, then 1, the whole thing, will be 62.5 times 10, which is equal to 625. So in this first example, 0.1 times 5,000 gives us 500. And in the second example, 0.8 times 625 equals 500. Explain why the following makes sense. To solve 1.5 times 320, I add 320 to half of 320. Well, let's think about this. 1.5 is equal to 1 plus 0.5, or 1 plus a half. We're trying to figure out what 1.5 times 320 is. Well, if 1.5 is the same as 1 plus 0.5, then we can say that 1 times 320 plus 0.5 times 320 is the same as 1.5 times 320. So that means we've got 320 plus half of 320, which is 160, is equal to 1.5 times 320, which we can do the math, obviously, and it comes out to 480. So the key message here is that we had to take the 320 and add in half of 320, which was 160, and that gave us our final answer. So we didn't necessarily have to do the multiplication of 1.5 times 320. We could break it into smaller pieces that were easier to do. Which has a different result from 0.8 times 212? So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 0.8 times 212, and I know that that's the same as saying 8 times 0.1, or 1/10, times 212. And I can change the order, because when we're doing multiplication, multiple multiplications in a row, it doesn't matter what order they happen in. So I can rearrange those to be 8 times 212 times 0.1, which turns out that is one of the options that's here. So we can check off to say that D is actually one of the answers. How else can we rearrange this? Well, we can leave it as the 8 times 212 times 0.1, and we could change that to be 8 times 212 times 1 over 10. Well, when you're multiplying by a fraction like this, that's the same as saying 8 times 212 and all of it divided by 10. Multiplying by 1 over 10 is the same as dividing by 10. We could also have written that as 8 times 212 divided by 10. So that means that question B is also one of the correct answers and not different. Starting back with 8 times 0.1 times 212, one of the things we can do is combine things in different ways. So we initially broke up the 0.08 into 8 times 0.01. We can also, though, group them this way. So we'd have 8 times 221.2, because we've multiplied the 212 times the 0.1, which moves the decimal place 1 to the left. That leaves us with matching up with question A. So the only thing we have to do now is look at part C, answer C, and we can see that because it is just slightly different from this one, the only difference is there's the decimal place here that has moved, so clearly that one is not the same as the original equation. Explain why 1.2 times 47 is equal to 12 times 47 divided by 10. 1.2 is equal to 12 times 1 over 10, or 12 tenths. And 1/10 is the same as dividing whatever you've got by 10. So if we've changed 1.2 to now be equal to 12 divided by 10, we can put that into our original equation and say that 12 divided by 10 times 47 is equal to 1.2 times 47. We can then rearrange it so that we can match exactly the order we had in the question. 12 times 47 divided by 10 equals 1.2 times 47. Sorry, forgot a 7 there. So remember, when you have only multiplication and division, you can change the order. It doesn't matter what order you do them in, as long as you do all of them together, and as long as you're only dealing with multiplication and division. So 12 divided by 10 times 47 is the same as 12 times 47 divided by 10.